Well, John, I sat down with a donor who was 24 years old and a healthcare worker. She shared the moment she found out she was a match.
Liz McAtee is a nursing student who's already helped to save a life by signing up for Be the Match. When she was 17 years old, right next door to her home,
I had a neighbor who had leukemia, and he was searching for a donor. He needed a stem cell transplant. He was very sick and was struggling to find one.
that neighbor, now retired Superior Court Judge Carl Fox, had a bone marrow transplant donor drive in 2015. He received 2 donations that helped him recover from cancer. She was too young to donate at that time. Then, 2 years after McAtee registered with Be the Match,
I received a call from a Minnesota number, and I know nobody in Minnesota, so I thought it was spam, and I ignored it.
she still didn't believe it was a legit contact when she got a text a minute after that call.
In fact, my first thought, and I laugh at this now, was they're going to ask me to put down a deposit and I'm never going to hear from these people again. That's how unlikely this seemed.
But a check of her email that day convinced her, and the process of helping her match began. She learned later that her match was a woman about the same age as her grandparents.
If one of my grandparents had leukemia, I would be begging everybody I knew to join the registry. And if I can give somebody the opportunity to maybe grow up with all of their grandparents, or just with one more, I'm going to do that.
But first, she had blood drawn for testing to confirm her match. Then Be the Match flew McAtee and her mother to Washington, D.C., where she took medication to stimulate her stem cell production. 4 days later, after doctors recovered life-saving stem cells from her,
Physically, I was a little bit sore. I will say on a scale of 0 to 10, the worst pain I had was about a 2 or a 3. It really was not bad.
that pain forgotten when
I was at work finishing up my work day, and I checked my email that said, and it just said Be the Match, letter from, and I immediately realized that it was from my recipient. That was the first kind of sign of life I had from her.
and now
She was progressing well, and she's a wife and a mom, and got to spend the holidays with her family. And it was kind of embarrassing. I was in the middle of a bunch of coworkers, and I just started crying because I was so excited and relieved to know that she was doing okay.
Well, McAtee is part of the younger, more diverse pool of donors that Be the Match needs to save more lives. They especially need potential donors from minority communities. So think about that if you are a member of that community. 1 week from today marks 10 years since Robin Roberts returned to GMA after her bone marrow transplant. Join the GMA team as they recognize and celebrate that milestone. That's next Tuesday. And scan the QR code on the screen to find out how you can become a donor.